We heard from State Representative Ted James last week, and no, he didn't give a TED Talk, it was a PAR Talk. And by PAR, we mean the Public Affairs Research Council, the good government policy group that puts the whoa in wonk. The La Politics Lowdown and Covalent Logic teamed up with PAR earlier this month to record these PAR Talks so we could bring them right to you. It's the one and only La Politics Lowdown, your source for the best and the worst in Louisiana politics. This episode is brought to you by our friends at Covalent Logic, a communications firm that passionately pursues strategic ideas, graphic design, web development, and public relations. CovalentLogic.com. Here's your lowdown. Meet Julie Catherine Emerson. She's the state representative from House District 39 over in Lafayette and St. Landry parishes, and that means Boudin. Lots of Boudin from Scott, which is not only located in Julie's district, but it's also the legislatively designated Boudin capital of the world. Julie is a small business owner. She's 30 years old. Actually, she's a leap year baby. And she's a public relations specialist who tinkers in everything from social media platforms to electoral politics. So here's Julie giving her version of a PAR Talk. During her presentation, Julie discusses the importance of place and how that can feed into job creation and quality of life.
Well, thank you so much, guys. I don't really know what I did to be picked to do this with two attorneys and a former TV reporter, so I'm probably going to be your worst presentation, but I'm going to work on it. You know, they tell you whenever you get up to speak in front of people, you should never start out apologizing because it's just all downhill from there. But I have to admit, when we were asked to do this, Robert and I were talking about, oh, this is going to be really cool, you know, TED Talk and PAR Talks. Excuse me, trademark there. You know, I've watched TED Talks before, and you see people, and they seem really cool, and they're innovative and interesting. And I'm like, man, that's so cool. I can be like that. And then I realized I was going to be standing in a room in front of people, walking on a stage, not behind a podium, and basically the topic was the future of Louisiana. And I thought, oh, well, that seems like it's going to be terrifying. And then the fact that I found out that Jeremy was going to be here and he's going to be recording it, and so it's going to be archived forever, it's sort of like being a stand-up comedian and being an elected official. It doesn't really mesh very well, right? But as Robert said, I'm a bit of a world traveler. I do enjoy traveling. I've traveled for work and pleasure and mission trips and all kind of stuff like that. But actually, I love being on planes. A lot of people are petrified of flying. I love flying. I thought at some point in my life I'm going to get sick of flying. And after I took my first marathon flight, 14, 15 hours over the Pacific Ocean, I thought, surely this is going to make me hate it. It didn't. I do it as much as I possibly can. For whatever reason, I like being on planes that long. It's really strange. I've been trying to figure it out for a long time, but there's a lot of stuff about me that's really strange that I haven't figured out either. But one time I was on this flight with this man, and I sat down next to him, and it was about to be a marathon flight, and okay, I just fell to the stage. All right. I have no idea how that happened, but you're welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I told you it's kind of like being a stand-up comedian. I planned that. It's an icebreaker or a stage breaker. Anyway, but I'm on this flight, and this man sits down next to me, and he immediately introduces himself, and of course, you want to be friendly on a flight. You're like, hey, how are you doing? And he continues to talk to me, so you think, is this going to be a 14-hour conversation? I really would like to put my headphones on right now and listen to music, but hey, okay, this could be interesting. And so we had talked for a little while, and so obviously he had kind of heard my accent, and I mean, I wouldn't say I have this like really strong Cajun or Southern accent, but I thought, he's probably going to notice where I'm from. And so he asked me, hey, where are you from? And I said, well, where do you think I'm from? I don't really know why I said that, but I did. And he goes, oh, I don't know, like, maybe Wisconsin? I'm like, Wisconsin? I mean, what about, no offense to anybody from Wisconsin, it's a great state, I love the cheese, but I'm thinking, what, am I wearing a cheese hat that I don't know about? I don't really know where Wisconsin came from. And so I said, yeah, no, I'm from Louisiana. And he was like, oh, that's really fascinating. And so I always love when I'm on flights to tell people this because their reaction to Louisiana is always very interesting. Because we're a very unique state. I mean, we are a southern state, we're in the South, so we're like a lot of other southern states, but we're unique. So of course, like most people, he goes, oh, you know, in New Orleans, he's probably visited Helena's district like 37 times or something, and never mind. But, you know, he goes, oh yeah, I love New Orleans, love the French Quarter, it's such a unique culture. But then he also told me that, I forgot what business he was in, but he had been to Colfax. And I'm thinking, that is the most random place in Louisiana to go, being in Colfax. And there was some kind of work project that he had there, so he said, oh yeah, you know, I went there and it was really cool. He said, I gotta tell you, the thing I love the most, that is most fascinating about Louisiana, is not just the food, which the food is fantastic, as we all know. Of course, in Lafayette, it's a little bit better than New Orleans, but you know. I didn't say that out loud. No, it's good everywhere, right? But he said, you know, but it's the people, the culture of the people, and just they're so friendly, so welcoming. It's so fantastic, and that's what I get from just about everybody that I talk to. Anybody that's ever been to Louisiana, they love it. We're a friendly people, welcoming, and of course, we like to pass a good time with our food. So a few days ago, when I was frantically trying to figure out what I was going to stand up in front of all of you terrified people and talk about, I posed a question on Facebook, and I just said, hey, you know, what do you all think is the greatest thing about Louisiana, the worst thing about Louisiana, things we can improve, ways to get better? And almost unanimously, like, because a lot of the people that commented, you know, I knew kind of their political leanings, because most of them were, you know, friends with me or followed my page or whatever, so I'd read some of their stuff before. And almost unanimously, the thing that everybody said we did the best was tourism and culture and being friendly, which is so interesting. Apparently that's true, because everybody thinks that, and I think it's true too. And probably the two things that everybody said were the worst, or that we needed to improve on, were education and infrastructure, because everybody hates driving on our roads, right? And we have potholes all over the place. So it's interesting. It got me thinking about it, because it's certainly things that we always talk about in the legislature. And I got to thinking about a meeting that I was in not too long ago. It was not politically related at all. It was a business thing, and it was frankly not even a project that I was kind of leading on. I was sort of there as a support mechanism. And so I was kind of sitting in the back of the room, not really a part of the conversation. And there was this one gentleman there who was a part of the conversation, and I had never met this gentleman before, but somebody told me before we went into the meeting, they said, you know, this gentleman is he's actually a billionaire. And I was like, okay, that's very interesting. Frankly, you know, you're around some wealthier people every now and then, but billionaires are just not exactly, they don't come in every day. So I said, okay, well, this is interesting. And, you know, he carried himself in a particular way. He was strong, he was confident. And all of a sudden, I was listening to the conversation about this project that was going on. And I mean, I'm paying attention, I'm taking notes, but all of a sudden he goes, you there. And I mean, again, I wasn't paying attention, so I didn't know who the you was. And he said, ma'am, you. And I looked up, and I was a little bit deer in the headlights, like, yes. And he says, I heard you were a legislator. I said, oh dear, okay, yes. I mean, I try, sometimes when I'm doing my work, I try not to put that out there too much, but okay, yes, I am. And he said, well, I have a question for you. He said, you know, we have this ongoing problem in states across America and in America in general. Just, you know, with the economy's going down, we're having a hard time paying for things. We can't balance the budget in Washington. So what do you think we should do about that? I thought, well, I mean, I can kind of maybe speak for Louisiana, and I like kind of fumbled around because I just wasn't really ready for this question, and everybody was staring at me. And he said, you know, I'll tell you what we can do here. He says, you know, our expenses are growing, and it's, you know, you can talk about entitlement reforms, you can talk about cuts, you can talk about this and that. And he said, but I'm telling you, it is so hard to, once you give something, it's very, very hard to take it away. And that's true. I mean, I think every legislator here can agree to that. Anytime that you're looking at, you know, certain programs or certain incentives or whatever it is, once you give it, it's very, very hard to take away. And he said, so let's think about other ways that we can boost our economy, create jobs, get more businesses in America, get more businesses in Louisiana, and make sure that we can sustain what we have. And so it kind of made me think back to my days in South Carolina when I was in grad school there for about a year and a half, living in Columbia, and I was doing a little bit of work, and I had a couple of friends that worked for Governor Nikki Haley at the time, and they had kind of been on this global tour of attracting businesses to South Carolina, trying to grow the economy, create more jobs. And so I asked them, I said, you guys have been all over the world. You've been to a ton of countries, all over Europe, all these things trying to attract businesses, and you've been decently successful. I mean, they have BMW, they have Boeing, they have Michelin, they have Pirelli, they have all of these multinational corporations in South Carolina now. So, I thought about it with Louisiana. I mean, we have some of that going on, but we have a big port, just like in Charleston. So what's the deal there? What do people look for whenever they're looking for a place to put their business, relocate their business? And of course, we talk about the normal things of you have different incentives and things like that. Of course, the tax structure of being stable. But they said, one of the biggest things that they talked to us about was quality of life. What was the quality of life like for your state? So when our workers come here and they move here, what are your roads like? What are your schools like? And sometimes it's just kind of the general climate, which sometimes we struggle with in states like South Carolina, Louisiana, because it's really hot. So if you don't like really hot places, sometimes that's difficult. But they just talked about so many different things that were kind of even outside of your normal, tax structure and things of that nature of what attracts businesses and people to their state. So I just really started thinking about that, and we've talked a lot about, I'm on the education committee, so we've been talking a lot about TOPS and colleges and TOPS reform bills and things of this nature. And one thing that we talk about so much is the emergence of our community colleges and technical colleges. And that's something that is kind of emerging in Louisiana, and we've really been trying to focus on. Because, I think when they kind of started out, you have this little bit of a stigma of somebody's like, well, I want to go to Ford University. My parents are pressuring me to go to Ford University, which is awesome. I went to Ford University right outside of high school. So if that's what you're ready for, that's what you're ready for. And you should definitely pursue it. But I think when businesses try to look at your state, one of the biggest things they look for is a workforce. Do you have a trained and skilled workforce to be able to provide people to work for us and fill those jobs? Because, we talk to a lot of business owners around the state sometimes, and they'll tell you, man, we complain about the economy being down and lack of jobs, but frankly, we have some jobs, but we just can't find people to fill them sometimes because we don't have a trained and skilled workforce. So I think as we move forward, that is, if Monty Sullivan was here, he'd be really excited to hear me saying this, but we really need to concentrate a lot on our community and technical colleges. Because I feel like that is one area where folks who are looking for good jobs, we can get them trained and skilled. And I'll
12 minutes.
Okay, I will close with this. I think the future is bright. I'll tell you a really, really quick story. It'll take less than a minute. I didn't even think I was going to talk this long. It's really amazing, but falling to the stage kind of took a couple of minutes there, so I noticed that. When I was in college, I took this. We got a couple of kinesiology activity classes, kind of like PE, that you could take. 2 of them in your whole 4 years, and so scuba diving was available. So I decided, well, I'm never going to do this ever again in my life, so I might as well take scuba diving while it's here. And we did this, trip to Florida to get the license and do your open water dives and everything. And as I'm going down, so you had to go 60 feet down to get your license. So as I'm going down, it is like so murky that I cannot see anything. I could barely see my hand right here. It wasn't dark, it was just kind of green, and everything was so murky and I couldn't see anything as I was going down, and I started to panic. I'm not really a scary person. Like I said, I live and fly for 14 hours, okay? So I don't get scared a whole lot. And I'm going down there and I'm freaking out, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I think I'm gonna be claustrophobic or panic and I'm gonna have to go up. And I just kept trying to push myself because it was just so murky for 40 feet. And then finally when I got down to about the 40, 45 foot level, everything just opened up and was clear as a bell. It was unbelievable. And it's been a good lesson for me in life, because sometimes we go through murky times, and I think in Louisiana right now we're kind of going through a bit of a murky time. But I think that when you go through those times, you really appreciate when you get to the clear part, and you're able to see it in this great way, because everything is so beautiful and everything's working out perfectly, and you get your diving license. But I think that's where we are in Louisiana. I think we're going through some tough times and some murky times, but I think we are just about there on the cusp of doing something really great and things getting clear.
Thank you, Julie.
That was State Representative Julie Emerson at this month's annual conference of the Public Affairs Research Council. Want to learn more about PAR? Visit parlouisiana.org. Want more from Julie Emerson? Go to our website, lapolitics.com, to watch this post-presentation Q&A conducted by PAR President Robert Travis Scott. This has been your fix from the La Politics Lowdown and the Public Affairs Research Council. Make sure to tune back in next week for our next installment, New Orleans City Councilwoman Helena Moreno, who was actually still a legislator when she gave her PAR talk. And with that, we bid you farewell from the La Politics Lowdown, a product of Louisiana, where all the donors are wealthy, all the reporters are unbiased, and all the politicians are honest. And now, a word from our sponsor.
I always start with what are you trying to say and who are you trying to say it to? Because communication is a two-way street. Whether it's advertising, marketing, public relations, web design, graphic design, it doesn't matter. The point is that you have a point of view that you are trying to express. It could be my product is awesome, my service is awesome, that I have this thing that you want. So we always try to identify who are the audiences, what drives them, what motivates them, what do they care about? Do they care about price? Do they care about time? Do they care about quality? It has to be an authentic message that will resonate with the audience. So we always start from what's the message, who's the audience, and then we get into what media are we going to use to share the message.